Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that y'all are enjoying your day. Child, I have to do a recap on this video that I seen. Right, people are losing their minds. I don't even understand really what what is going on right now. But I had to drop this quick video. Right, so I don't really do the TikTok thing, but I will watch the TikTok videos once they load them up on YouTube, right? So I'm looking at a lady by the name of, I think her name is Tabitha Speaks. Shout out Tabitha Speaks, right? And so she said that there's something trending when it comes to Latinos Latinos and Hispanic, and some, like African immigrants and Haitian immigrants and things of that nature, right? They feel that she said that they thought they especially the Latino and Hispanic community, right? They felt that they if they voted for Trump, the reason why they wanted to, vote Republican, they had that whole Latinos for Trump campaign and all of this and all that. They felt like if they associated themselves to whiteness, that it wasn't them that wouldn't be deported or kicked out of the country. It would be black people kicked out of the country because they feel like via misinformation or lack of knowledge, sure, ignorance. I don't know what it was, but they feel like black people are the real immigrants in this country, and that we would be the one that would be kicked out, and not the Hispanics and Latinos and other immigrants like Haitian immigrants and like I'm saying, some African immigrants, legal or illegal, right? We know that they loaded them up and they shipping them out, right? Because of Trump is on the rampage, right? Child, I don't know. I don't know why they felt this, but this is misinformation. I don't know who put it in their head that we would be we are the immigrants, number one, and that we will be the ones to be deported. Now, I'm thinking, do they not? Well, clearly they don't know history, right? Number one, we can't be deported anywhere as black Americans, number one, because our ancestors helped build this country. Our blood is in the soil. Okay? Without us, America wouldn't be what it is right now. Okay, so I don't understand where this ideology came from. It's just sheer ignorance. I don't know if this is some kind of knee jerk reaction, but we can't be immigrated nowhere as black Americans because this is our country. Now, you hear some people around the African diaspora, saying that, we don't know where we come from or and all of this and all of that, right? Now, we know where we come from as black Americans. Now, we're not going to talk about historically, like ancestrally, right? We know that a lot of black Americans are descended from slavery, which means that a lot of our ancestors were stolen and brought to this country as chattel slaves, right? Because we are black Americans are even in the Constitution of the United States of America, right? There was a civil war before there was a United States of America. There was a civil war surrounding slavery, right? So I'm trying to figure out what the mentality is behind them thinking that we could be deported anywhere. So our ancestors have been here longer than a lot of Anglo people's ancestry has been here, right? So I'm just trying to make it make sense. Are they just saying things, trying to want to lash out? I don't understand that. We know that throughout the diaspora, there is a lot of Latino and Hispanic racism when it comes to black people. I don't know if it's throughout the diaspora. I don't know if it's only in their country, but it's definitely a lot of racism as it pertains to black people from the Latino and Hispanic community, right? And I think part of it is because they want to associate themselves to whiteness, not realizing the whole time that you guys are the ones that are going to be deported. Hey Tracy, how you doing? We don't have to go nowhere. Go back to where. So Latinos, now we have heard some angry Anglos, because of white rage, right, saying that go back to where you came from and all this and all that. Honey, we come from here, okay? Like, what do you want me to go back to? The state that I was born in? Like, I'm trying to figure that out, right? But it is particularly ignorant and insane and very funny when you hear Latinos on these TikTok videos saying that they feel like if they align themselves with the Republicans and Trump, that we would be the ones that would be deported. And I guess they thought that they was going to take our place. Now, why would you want to compete and feel a way about a people that are on the bottom rung anyway? Why would you feel, some type of anger or jealousy or rage or racism towards people that have been, the foot has been on our neck generationally, right? Because of the system of white supremacy racism, that system's foot has been on our neck since our ancestors hit this country, right? But nevertheless, deported to where? We are black Americans. Like I said, our blood is in this soil. Okay, and it don't matter what it doesn't matter what they think. I mean, clearly they don't know anything about American history. Maybe that's why they said that. And I did a video, I think last week, about even American Indians saying that we were settlers. We were slaves and settlers at the same damn time. Now I'm just trying to make it make sense. Like, but when it comes to these Latinos and Hispanics, there's no wonder when you got so many black people, like including me, saying stay out of this fight. We don't have nothing to do with it. They don't like us anyway. But I did not know that they felt like we were immigrants and we could be deported out of this country and they would be the ones to replace us. That doesn't make any sense. That is nonsensical. Why would you even want to replace black people, knowing all the things that we go through every day on a consistent basis, systemically? Why would you want to even go there? So anyway, I don't understand that. Like, who told them that we were immigrants? That is so ignorant. And then and I feel like because they want to have a proximity to whiteness, they say all of this stuff, thinking that it's gonna harm black people or make them be or cause them to be deported or something. Well, you ain't doing nothing but making yourself look silly. You sound nonsensical. We can't be deported from anywhere because we come from America. So I'm just wanting to. I just didn't understand that. I couldn't believe that. I was like, they saying what? Like, make it make sense. So they really thought if they voted for Trump, they really felt like if they voted for Trump, that Trump was going to deport black people. I don't know the word. Deport black people because we know he is racist and he is very xenophobic, but he cannot make us go anywhere. Okay? That is crazy. That is madness. But instead, they are having to go through what they're going through right now because he is against illegal immigrants and immigrants, right? We are not those illegal immigrants or either immigrants, right? That is ridiculous. But I just had to come on and tell y'all that in case y'all didn't hear it. Go where? Where are we supposed to go? This is our homeland as much as it is theirs, but it is not. It is much more of our homeland than it is the Hispanic immigrants, the Cuban immigrants, the Latino immigrants, the African immigrants, the Haitian immigrants, the whoever immigrants. Okay, we helped build this country to the point to where there is a book called White Rage, right? I don't know if you guys have ever read White Rage, but White Rage, and there are also, a lot of videos out now where a lot of Anglos are, just pretty much openly being racist, right? And and I am glad that they are finally telling the truth, because a lot of black people want to live in a dream world. They want to still believe that we live in a post-racist United States of America, right? I have had many discussions and many arguments online, to the point to where they, at one point in time, they said that I was trying to start a race war online in a small sector that I was in, right? So now everything that I said, these people are actually saying themselves, and I would really like to know what they think about it. See, a lot of stuff gets ran right over, right? A lot of black folks believe that they say, if they say, "Oh, we love everybody," that's going to protect them, honey. That's not going to protect you, because you might love everybody, but clearly everybody don't love you. Okay, so that's part of the problem with this lady. Her name is Mary Frances Winters. Wrote a book called Black Fatigue, right? She wrote this book called Black Fatigue, and she's talking about basically how, because of decades and decades and centuries and century of oppression, and because of decades and decades and centuries of black people having to fight for every little thing, including their civil and human rights, how they are just tired now. They don't want to deal with it anymore. We see that on a day-to-day basis when we see some of these sectors. But clearly, there's a lot going on in this country right now, but they want to argue amongst themselves. They want to have conversations about nonsensical things, right? When the whole world is against them, especially the United States of America right now. They would rather talk about, because of, mental illness is high. Hey Tisa, mental illness is growing in this country. Racism is growing in this country, even when it comes to young Anglo people, right? And it's being fed, because it is being allowed. It is cool for the Anglo, especially the Anglo male, to be racist, in this country right now. So anyway, I also saw a video where they're talking about, they flipped Black Fatigue, and they try to they're rebranding White Rage with Black Fatigue, right? And so the way that they're rebranding it is saying that we've been listening to blacks cry for 40 years, about civil rights and all of this and all that, and they ought to be tired, and we tired of hearing about it, and all of this and all of that, right? So they want to flip basically racism and call it black fatigue, when in actuality that is just another a way to culturally appropriate, something that's going on in the black community, right? Hey, the B Sector Podcast, how you doing? What's going on in the black community, and what they can't stand, or what they are upset about, some of them, especially middle-aged white males, is they really feel in their minds, for whatever, they feel like they're oppressed. And what they feel like they're oppressed about is black fatigue, until I'm getting to that, T, so you're absolutely right. But what they feel oppressed about, and they shouldn't feel oppressed now, because they're finally getting what they want, right? They felt oppressed for over 40 years, because they can't just string up, just have a pick a nigga, is what they used to call it, event in the middle of town, right? They want to run these black folks down and lynch them anytime they want to, right? They want to be able to kill you and subjugate you anytime they want to. So they've been upset about that, forever and ever. So they want to call it black fatigue when we fight for our rights. When we have incidents that the whole world sees, like the George Floyd incidents, and the whole world start to protest about an incident that has happened to a black person, they get mad about it. They call it white rage, because they don't understand why they are not allowing these racist Anglo people just pretty much do black people any way that they want to. Okay? And so they feel a way about that, right? So I guess they're feeling a little better nowadays. They're feeling a little more emboldened. Even younger Anglo people are all on the internet, spewing this anti-black rhetoric, and it's unfortunate, but now black people should now see that we are not, in fact, in a post-racist United States of America, right? You see how these people really feel about you, and it's up to you to whether you want to choose to believe it or not, right? I've been talking about this stuff for years. Some black folks, I guess they think I'm crazy. So now, since you're hearing it out of your own ears, or either you're choosing to ignore it, why are you still saying that you love everybody when everybody clearly love you? Don't love you. And a perfect example is these Latinos and other immigrants thinking that black people that was their ancestors were brought over here on boats. They were kidnapped. They were chattel slaves. They were beaten. They were raped. Any inhumanity you can think of that was done to a person has been done to black Americans, right? Their ancestors, to the point to where it is so bad. It was so bad, and it still is so bad. Okay, that it is really downloaded. I'm gonna say that in our DNA. There is also a name for that, but I'm just gonna say it the way that everybody will hopefully understand it. The trauma is still in our DNA. That's how bad it was, right? And that's how they want to keep it in certain when they do certain things like microaggressions, right? So you hear these so-called good Anglos trying to sympathize with the plight of the black person, right? When you hear them talking about that. But they cannot sympathize with you because at the end of the day, they can never fully understand what it is that you went through. That's why at the end of the day, they will always unify with one another, even under the banner of racism. Now, black people don't do that. You have a lot of black people that will try to still assimilate themselves or get close, to whiteness, thinking that they will be safe. Now, clearly, it is something wrong with these people. That's why mental illness is so high right now. But when it, but I just got a good little kiki at work listening. Thank you, Tisa. Thank you, love. Thank you. I appreciate you, Tisa. I got a good little kiki out of listening to these Latinos and Hispanics feeling like we are the ones that need to be we are the true immigrants and not them. Now, I'm just trying to make it make sense. I guess I'm gonna chalk it up to ignorance when it comes to the plight of the black person in the United States of America. You know what I mean? And it's not only them; it's even American Indians that feel like we were settlers and not chattel slaves. I'm thinking, what? Did you see the video I tagged you in? No, I didn't, Teach. I haven't even seen it yet. What is it about? I didn't even go to my. I don't hardly go to my mentions, but I will. Tell me what it's about real quick. But I sure go look at the mentions. I sure will. Oh, and y'all, let me tell y'all, Teach and y'all. The reason why I keep changing my name is cause ever since my name was usurped or kidnapped or whatever the case it was supposed to have been happening. It's about the Cubans. No, I haven't, but I definitely look at it. Yeah, absolutely. And for some reason, when we talk about Cubans, the Cubans, especially the Afro Cubans, they hate to be associated, with black skin. I mean, with black people because their skin is deeply melanated. Not only them, when it comes to a lot of people like what do you call like Zoe Saldana and Cardi B, a lot of those Hispanic or Latinos or whatever they are, or Salvadorans or whatever they are, because they look like black people, they hate that. The Africans, yeah, the Africans also, they don't like to be associated with black people either. You're right about that, Tisa. But do they understand that when you come to the United States of America, this country is founded on racism. It is the original skin. If you have melanin in your skin, they are going to think that you are a black person. Okay? They are not going to say, oh, they're not black, they're African. Oh, they're not black, they're Puerto Rican. Oh, they're not black, they're Afro Latinos or Afro-Cubans, no honey, no honey. They're gonna put you in the same box as black people, and that really bothers a lot of them. But when it comes to this country, it is what it is because it all boils down to the original sin, right? Why do you think Anglos work so hard to keep the foot on the necks of black people, right? Now you got a whole they deem those groups less than us. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They deem themselves less than us, yet they want to take our place. I'm thinking, okay. Do you know what really? I'm confused. Like, take the place for what? What do you feel? I don't understand. But what they really want to do when it comes to the Cubans and Latinos, and Hispanics, in my opinion, and this is just my point of view, what they really want to do is to be indoctrinated into the society of systemic racism, white, the system of white supremacy, and that is never going to happen. This is not the first time that there has been a trying to get rid of Hispanic and Latino immigrants in this country. If you know your history, but clearly they don't know anything about their own history as it pertains to this country. This is not the first time that America has tried to cleanse itself of these people, right? It is not the first time. It's just the latest thing that's going on right now, right? And so it's to the point to where I think that they're really upset at the end of the day because of black fatigue. We don't want to get out there and march for nothing or nobody. We just want to sit back and watch. I seen a video the other day where a Hispanic woman was on CNN saying that it was black people looting and breaking in stores when they were peacefully protesting. That was a lie. You could clearly see with all the tattoos and all of this and all of that who was looting in those stores. It wasn't black people, it was them. You know why? Because we don't have nothing to do with it. We're not coming down there to take a march and nothing, especially when it comes to LA, especially after the last riot, which was in the 90s, concerning Lord, the man's name went out of my head. The black folks down there ain't doing all that. Child, don't that ain't none of our business, right? Jesus said, that's why I hate to see our people tap dancing to entertain those groups. Absolutely. Peep how he have the rappers performing to appeal to, but right, and pardoning, he pardoning like Rick Ross or somebody, or who was that he pardoned? He pardoned NBA young boy. He does all of that to keep a hold of the black male Trump supporter, right, Tisa? Because there are a certain amount of respect, black and white, a black male and female. There is a small portion still of black Trump supporters, right? So he feels like if he does that, that will appeal to black America. He also said, which is very racist, that black America likes him because he has a mugshot. I'm thinking, excuse me? So you think all black people love you because you got a mugshot? I'm thinking, really? And some people don't view that as racist. That is very racist. That is very xenophobic. It is very ignorant. And unfortunately, the problem with black America, we know, is we don't stick together even politically. We don't work towards our own good. And part of that is because of black fatigue. Some black folks is just tired. But because of black fatigue, billions of black Americans did not vote in this last election, not realizing that for every black person that didn't vote, it was a vote for Donald Trump. And that was unfortunate. You know. It didn't make no sense he partnering black rappers after they have served most of, not all, their sentence. It is diabolical, right? Because he know the black man gonna be like, see, he love us, he partnering our people, he loves us. It's just plumb ignorant, right? It's just plumb ignorant. It don't make no sense. So you think you're going to sway? Now he don't even, but he knows that he can't sway all of Black America, all of the Black American voters just because he's partnering a few people. And some people actually read, and some people can see through their facade. Some people actually realize that Trump's biographer, did an interview saying that, pretty much he wants to, what he means by make America great again as it pertains to black people is to resegregate black people, right? I don't know if a lot of people don't care or they're not listening to what he's saying. I'm talking about these people that are still for him. Do you see what I'm saying? They say a lot of black males that voted for him because they think that he speaks their minds. He speaks his mind, and that man is crazy. In my opinion, he got some kind of dementia or something. Okay, his xenophobia, his racism is so entrenched in his mind that it's morphed his reality. Especially when he thinks that he can make America great again by resegregating America. Okay, child, most of them, it don't even. I read that, but it don't make no sense. And then and it was cool that uh, millions of Anglos came out this past weekend and stood up for democracy, and that is what they were supposed to do because they the one voted Trump in. They broke it. They bought it. What he was saying, they bought the racism. They bought the fact that he was telling them that they were going to be better off if they voted him in the office, not realizing that was a bunch of malarkey. That was just a lie, right? The only thing that he really wants to do is please his cohorts, right? Other rich people, right? To give them more tax cuts, right? So that they can keep more money in their pocket, right? Not pay what is due to this country out of their pocket. He's trying to get, and then the way that he's wanting to pay for these tax cuts, like I said yesterday, is with that big beautiful bill when it is going to hurt millions of Americans, black and white. So he clearly doesn't care about even his MAGA supporters. Even some of his MAGA supporters are starting to turn against him because they're starting to realize what's going on. You know, so when they got out there and they was marching in the millions this weekend, that is absolutely what they were supposed to do. Okay, now they did stand on business, but I didn't see them marching Sunday. I didn't see them marching yesterday. I don't hear of them marching today. And that's what black people were doing. We were marching every day during the Martin Luther King civil rights protest, right? And not only were our elders protesting, they were peacefully protesting to the point to where they were getting dogs, sicked on them and hoses and all of this and all of that, right? Because they realized that if they were going to get anywhere in this country, get out of the hole economically, they were going to have to fight for their civil and human rights, not knowing the whole time that they already had it good though. But because they wanted some of them wanted a proximity to whiteness, they they launched this huge effort. But as time went on, even Dr. King said, "I fear that I have led my people into a burning house." And what he meant by that was, hey, we had it all right when we had our own communities, right? We had our own busing system. We had our own, black stores, our own black restaurants and movie theaters. We were doing all right in our community, right? So there was no need for proximity, to whiteness. There was a need for, and I realize it is an unpopular, opinion, but I, agree with Malcolm X when he wanted to be separate but equal, right? So instead of equal voting for, our civil rights, absolutely human rights, but as far as civil rights go, what did that mean in context, right? Well, come to find out, the Anglos caught on and they said, well, okay, they want to sit in our restaurants and want to be able to shop in our stores. Okay, we still hate them, but we'll take their money. You know what I mean? Give them the illusion that they are equal to us. Do you see what I'm saying? Give them the illusion that we care about their human rights because we can take away the businesses and things of that nature of their growing community, which further keeps our foot on their neck, but it's still helping us at the same time because they're so desperate to sit with us in restaurants and stuff. Let them. We'll just take their money. We'll destroy what's left of their community, and that is what was done. Unfortunately, God putting a whooping on him, right, though. I'm noticing he's slurring. Yes, he's slurring a lot more than he. I mean, he's 79 years old. The man is insane, Tisa. He probably got sundowner's disease or something. You know what I mean? The look on his face at that parade. But they're priceless, cause honey, he thought it was gonna be a grand parade with millions of people out there. And child, half of his own people didn't even show up. It was empty seats in the stands. One. Did you see that video to where it was so quiet during that parade that you could hear the tank's wheels rolling down the sidewalk and stuff? I was like, oh my God. I think that there were more people in the parade than people watching the parade. And I think that's why he looked like that. Yeah, that look and the squeaky wheels. And yeah, the squeaky wheels on the tank, child. I said, well, will you look at this right here? This don't make no sense, but that's what you get. But like I said, a lot of those Anglos, they stood on business, but they need to be consistent. Just because you protest one time doesn't mean he's going to change anything. Okay? He's still going to strive to be the dictator that he wants to be, not realizing that he's a pawn in a bigger game. They don't care nothing about him, honey. He's just a front man. He's just a fool, just willing to be foolish, okay? Because there are very insidious people in his organization that want to do very, very insidious things to people in his country, and not just black people, everybody in his country, right? It is a very dangerous time right now. I mean, you got these crazy people, executing members of Congress, and state reps and stuff like that. That is crazy. Stalking them in their homes, having a hit list, because of racism, is an anti anything white, anti anybody that doesn't agree with them, because that rhetoric is so high, especially coming from the office of the presidency of the United States of America. These Anglos are losing their minds, right? They're setting their white rage free, honey, and we seen that, like I said the other day, with the assassinations over the weekend. I was like, wow. Wow, the soldiers were not marching in step, right? I think that was intentional. Probably, the crowd was not excited, right? It was a hot mess, and it was a $45 million hot mess. So you want to take away all these social programs that help people, like I said, not only black people, but you want to take away these social programs in order to give tax cuts to millionaires and billionaires, but you don't want to help out your countrymen, and you really don't even he doesn't even respect the military. So like you said, Tisa, when they wasn't even marching in step, it probably was intentional, because they know how Trump feels about them. And they also said that it cost over $130 million for the National Guard and the Marines to be deployed to Los Angeles for a few blocks of protesters, right? $130 million, $40 million for a parade. All of this really for nothing, but you want to make these tax cuts and make people think that this big beautiful bill of yours that you're proposing and you wanted to get passed is going to help everyday Americans. That is a lie. That is an absolute lie. Mm-hmm. If the Democrats had done that, they would have absolutely lost their minds about that price tax. Absolutely. I don't want to hear nothing about fiscal. Exactly. He can find the money to waste on a parade, or waste on some National Guard, deploying National Guard and Marines. Usurping what Gavin Newsom said. Gavin Newsom said he didn't need their help, right? But he went and did it anyway, because that is a blue state, and he knows that Gavin Newsom doesn't agree with his politics. So that is the reason why he overrode him. He is so petty and so ignorant and so mean-spirited and so evil. He refused to give Tim Walz a call about the assassinations and attempted assassinations that took place in Minnesota this past weekend, because he is really for that stuff. Now, he did come out and say violence will not be tolerated, and we know he didn't mean that. We know he was cold talking when he came out and said that, but he wouldn't even call Tim Walz, to offer his condolences, or offer some help, as it pertains, like I said, to these assassinations that took place over the weekend. He takes that as a win for him. I am from South Africa. Oh, you're from South Africa. Are you black South African or white South African? But hey, anyway, yeah. But like I said, I found it's very interesting what's going on in this country right now. But as far as Black Americans and Latino and other immigrants, thinking that black people, black people are the immigrants. Okay, Black Americans are the immigrants. That's very ignorant. Okay, like I said, our blood is in the soil, and we can't be deported anywhere. We are even in the Constitution of the United States of America. And as far as Trump's big plan to resegregate America, now if you can resegregate it where it will be separate but equal, I know it's unpopular, but I don't feel the need to have a proximity to whiteness. Now, if you want to resegregate America and you want to make it separate but equal, I'm here for it. But we know that they can't even do that because they can't even do them without worrying about us. And we saw proof of that when they bombed several of our communities were surviving and thriving, right? We have a history of that. That is part of black fatigue. Every time we try to build up our communities without any help from the government, they even have a problem with that because they are afraid that you might outpace them without you being under their thumb. They can't survive. They can't culturally appropriate what it is that you do for this country, right? So, like I said, we saw proof of that with Tulsa, with Black Wall Street. We saw it in Philadelphia. We saw it in Florida. We saw it in many small towns. We saw it with the Red Summer, right? When these Anglos went on a rampage, and if you don't know what the Red Summer is, Google it, and educate yourself to the Red Summer, where they were mercilessly all over this country, killing black people, running them off their farm, running them away from the homes that they owned and from land, and what happened after Reconstruction, with the onslaught of Jim Crow, and under Reconstruction, black people were not only surviving out of slavery, they were thriving. They can't stand to see you thrive. That's why they have to keep you under their thumb to make themselves feel safe, right? They have to feel superior to you in order for them to feel safe. And what gets me is a lot of black people fall for this crap. You see it online every day. They ain't worried about the right thing. Is what the problem is. But I believe in black fatigue. If you guys haven't read this book that I got on the screen, you should read it because White Rage is trying to rebrand black fatigue. Black people are just tired of dealing with them. Okay? We're just tired. We don't want to deal with it no more. So if you got a problem with the current POTUS, you deal with it. You elected them. You bought it. Now deal with it, right? When it comes to these Latinos and immigrants and Haitians and whoever being immigrated, that is not our problem. We're not supposed to be on the front lines worrying about any of this. Okay? This is not our problem. And they are upset. You got the Anglo upset with black folks wanting to quote unquote resegregate America. You got all because they want to think they're gonna ride roughshod over you again, not realizing the whole time that, honey, this is a whole different country. Ain't nobody gonna lay down and let you lynch their kids and shoot their kids without no recompense. Okay, people are tired of that. That is why black people are standing up. They are tired of that. This is not the old days, right? So if you're going to want to resegregate America, you're actually going to have to do separate but equal. You're actually going to leave black folks the hell alone to their own devices. That's what you're actually going to have to do. Or you're going to have to deal with your xenophobia. The white America and these Latinos and places like that, they're driving themselves crazy worrying about black people. And you have to ask yourself why. If we are on the bottom in this country, what is the problem? The problem is they got to have somebody to hate, when really they hate themselves. It is mental illness. It is insanity, right? It is the fear of retribution. Don't know black people don't even want to engage in retribution. They just want to be left alone. Okay? But they act like they can't understand that black folks just want to be left the hell alone. That is too much like right to leave us the hell alone. And that's what you're seeing. And it don't matter how much crap Latinos talk about black people, you need to be talking crap about them Anglos that's trying to get you up out this country. Okay? So you've got misdirected anger. You spend so much time online worrying about black Americans that you can't really worry about that you are refusing or you scared to worry about the people that really want you gone out of this country. The people that really want you gone out of this country is not black folks because we don't care if you hear one way or the other. Okay? We still gonna do us. It ain't changing nothing. The people that are really worried about you being in this country is the President of the United States of America, number one, and all those racist people that believe in what it is that he's doing. That's who you need to be worried about because we don't care one way or the other. Now, I don't know why there are not more black people online telling these Latinos and these Hispanics that we don't care, honey. Why do you think we are not marching with you? That is a you problem. That is not a us problem. Make these videos to the people that you really need to be making them to, okay? Which is the freaking Anglo, because those are the ones that are deporting you. They got supposed ICE officers wearing face masks. If they're really ICE, officers or whatever, why are they covering their faces? Like what is the hiding the face about? Like, are they really ICE workers or is it something else going on? See, these are the things that you need to be worried about. You're not worried about the right thing. You fell for Trump's okie doke. You clearly don't know the history. So you thought, for whatever reason, black folks was going to be deported. I'm trying to figure out deported from where. That is a lack of knowledge. It is either it is just absolute delusional thinking. It is like sheer ignorance. It is xenophobic. I don't know what it is, but you got to be out your mind to think some nonsense like that. But that is what I want. That is what I want to get on here and talk about, y'all, because I'm sick of hearing this nonsense. Honey, stop misdirecting your anger and direct your anger where it needs to be. That's all I'm saying. You make yourself look stupid and sound stupid. Black folks ain't going no. We can't be deported from our own land. That's what I don't get. But like I said, when it comes to black folks is still a lot of black people are still living in this delusion about they love everybody, and because they love everybody, they're gonna be left alone. No, honey, it ain't like that. Okay, and you can see it on a day-to-day basis if they want to. And then why? Okay, then before I get off here, just let me say this. Why is white America so worried about black people and reparations? They can't stand when that reparations conversation comes up. Now everybody else has been given reparations. When it comes to the Japanese, that were in the Japanese internment camps in World War One, they received reparations. The Indians, the American Indians, that are worried about us, saying that lying and saying that we were settlers. Okay, they just say we settlers and oppressed at the same time, which we were chattel slaves. We didn't have a choose. Our ancestors did not choose to come over here. Okay, they were brought over here. They were stolen and brought over here. Right? The Indians received reparations. Okay,